We decided it was safer just to keep our kids at home.
I'm trying not to be too stressed because I know that, it is what it is and it's happening.
It is happening today. Students, parents, teachers, it's the first day of school for so many in our area. This year, of course, looks very different because of the coronavirus pandemic, as does our newscast as we get you ready. We have full coverage this morning. We have our crews out in the field. Chrissy's here with your back to school forecast, and that's how we are going to kick off the 6 o'clock hour, feeling pleasant again this morning.
Yeah, it is gorgeous out there, which is good news for that bus stop forecast. The bad news is it's not going to be like this all week long. But we are, of course, headed into fall, so we'll get more and more of these days coming up, just not for the foreseeable future. As we take a look at what's going on out there this morning, no fog to deal with on that morning bus ride. We don't have any rain to speak of, except for a couple of spotty showers, but those are going to stay offshore this morning. I'm not expecting any of those to make it onshore until we get into the afternoon. Temperatures right now anywhere from 59 in Bennettsville to we've got 64 in Florence and Conway. It's 65 in Laurinburg, 66 in Hartsville, with those low 70s out along the Grand Strand this morning. So it's another very comfortable morning with those dew points in the upper 50s to those mid 60s. So it is a little bit higher, just a couple of degrees higher this morning than it was yesterday morning. And that humidity is going to be on the rise as we head into the afternoon. So that 87 this afternoon going to feel a little bit different than that 87 we had yesterday. We'll give the morning forecast an A with those comfortable conditions and a nice dry forecast. This afternoon, there's a chance for a few showers along the coastline, so we'll give it a B-, Crystal, for that afternoon ride home.
Rough start to the school year, B-. Well, actually, it's not so bad. It's the first official day of school for so many students across our area, and we are going to have full back to school coverage all of this 6 o'clock hour and all day long. We begin with Connor Ingalls out live in the field this morning at Forest Brook Middle School in Horry County.
All right, good morning, Crystal. Yeah, we're out here at Forest Brook Middle School, or the Swamp, as they call it, which I absolutely love. Feel right at home as a Florida boy. We're just about 2 hours away now from students getting back into these classrooms for the first official day of school since March. It's been that long. The Horry County School District is one of the school districts in our area opening up today with a hybrid model. So that means students are going to be split into 2 separate groups. And then from there, they're going to spend 2 days in the classroom and then 2 days doing virtual learning. And then Friday, everybody does e-learning. And that first bell is going to ring at 8:10 a.m. So we're going to be out here until that happens as we see kids start to trickle in maybe in the next hour or so. Now, though, we're going to head down to Georgetown County. They're also returning to school today, but everyone will be remote for the next 2 weeks. School officials say they'll now announce their reopening plans on a weekly basis instead of bi-weekly. Today we'll be learning what they decide for the 3rd week of classes after school board officials see DHEC's COVID-19 data. And with school being completely virtual right now, Georgetown County School District leaders are making sure all of their students can participate. They're opening 4 schools for students who need internet access. School's going to be open from 5 to 8 p.m. on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Middle and high school students will be able to use the Wi-Fi at Carver's and Rosemary Middle Schools. And then elementary students can use the Wi-Fi at Sandpit and Pleasant Hill Elementary Schools. And since there will be limited staff, elementary and middle school students are going to need to have a parent or guardian with them on campus. Of course, there are some students who are already back in the classroom. Marlboro County Schools started last week with that hybrid model for grades 4 through 12. And then for grades kindergarten to 3rd, they're actually completely face-to-face already. And Robinson and Scotland County Schools started last month, but they are going to be completely virtual for at least the first 9 weeks. Again, 8:10 is what we're waiting for when the first bell rings and school really starts going. Faculty, though, already starting to trickle in here. Crystal, I did speak with the principal. I'm not in trouble yet, but she did agree to come talk with us on air in about 30 minutes, so we'll see if that's still true then.
All right, and like I cracked my lame joke earlier, not the first time Connor will spend time talking with the principal. Connor Ingalls, live for us this morning. We'll check in with him soon. As we know, it's going to be a very unconventional school year across our region. School nurses know this all too well. We checked in with one nurse at Socastee High School. She's also a mother and takes wearing masks and following CDC and DHEC protocols very seriously. She says students showing symptoms can now be isolated in 2 rooms in the nurse's office. Here's what she has to say to parents in hopes she won't have to use those rooms.
That it's very important for them to self-screen that student every morning. I'm going to be self-screening. Every staff member will self-screen. Teachers are going to do that in the morning. They're going to wake up, do that temperature, see if they're feeling sick, then they need to stay home.
She also says parents and students will have to call in and set up medicine exchanges during the day now. Students in Horry County will receive free meals for this entire school year. Horry County school leaders say this is all thanks to a waiver program provided by the USDA. Daily meals will include a breakfast and a lunch. Curbside meals will even be provided at select locations. For more information on this, just go to WPDE.com.
Yeah, buses are rolling this morning here for outside St. James Middle School. We've already seen a handful of them leave, and parents, we know you are scrambling, racing against that clock, trying to get kids out the door and at those bus stops on time. But did you know that Horry County School District actually has a locator for bus routes and bus stops? Check this out. We plugged in where we're at now near St. James Middle School and St. James Elementary, and you can see all of the bus stops nearby. It also tells you what time the bus will arrive. Horry County staff says parents should remember that times are approximate and students should be at those stops prior to the posted stop sign. There's also a chance that bus is running a few minutes behind, of course, with everybody getting back to the routine of things. And the bus stop locator program is updated 4 times a day with any changes to stops, delays, or anything like that. So over the next several days, school officials say there will be the possibility of multiple time adjustments on a bus route, but they expect that those adjustments will taper off quickly. Another way for families to keep up to date with their school buses and school bus routes, there are several Facebook pages for some of those district areas throughout the county with those bus stop pickups. You can go on their Facebook page and they'll update with any issues as well. Crystal?
Time now for ABC 15 News Waze on-time traffic.
The good news is there are no issues out there on local roads via Waze. Highway patrol troopers are not on the scene of anything in our area, and it's the same for the PD, so it's a good time to get out the door if you need to. Coronavirus cases continue to rise in the Carolinas. Coming up next, we'll have a look at the latest case count.
And it's the first day of school, which means the kiddos are headed out to the bus stop. I'll have full details on what they need to pack in their backpack today. We've got another beautiful morning out there with those temperatures inland in the upper 50s to the mid 60s. Out of the coast, it is in the low 70s, but we've got those nice lower dew points for now. As we head into the afternoon hours, the humidity is going to start to creep up, and we've got a partly cloudy sky with a chance for some coastal storms this afternoon. A few of these are going to move onshore coming in from the Atlantic, but they're going to struggle to make it too far inland this afternoon. So for those of you who aren't working today, or the kiddos who maybe get out of school a little bit early, pool forecast looks pretty good. We've got 74 degrees at 10 o'clock. 81 at noon, 88 for the afternoon high inland. It will be 84 out at the beaches this afternoon. But again, the drier areas are going to be our inland areas across the PD and the border belt. Along the Grand Strand, look for some afternoon showers and thunderstorms.
Good to know, Chrissy. Thank you. Coronavirus cases continue to grow. This morning in the Carolinas, state health officials announced nearly 600 new cases yesterday alone in South Carolina. The percent positive was a lot lower than what we've seen recently, only 11% yesterday. In North Carolina, numbers, though, continue to fluctuate. State health officials reported more than 1,000 new cases there on Monday. And here's a look at the breakdown by our local counties. In North Carolina, in Robeson County, there's now more than 3,800 confirmed cases. In Horry County, the number creeps a little bit higher each day. There's now more than 9,400 confirmed cases. Coming up next, we continue our complete coverage of back to school today. We're going to talk live with our friend Trooper Bob about what drivers should consider out on the roads today.
All right, so the coronavirus is obviously a top health concern as kids head back into the classroom, but doctors want to remind you that doesn't mean you can forget about your child getting their regular vaccinations. We'll tell you how it's actually now easier than ever before to get those.
Welcome back. It is 6:14 on this Tuesday. We continue our back to school coverage right now. It is the first official day of school for so many students across our area. Connor Ingalls is right at home out at Forest Brook Middle School in Horry County, where their mascot is the Gators.
Good morning, Crystal. So as we're out here at Forest Brook Middle School, obviously big story today is seeing how everything is going to go on this first day of school. It's going to look a lot different. We know that. I mean, you see right here, you got the social distancing signs, maintain 6 feet. They're all throughout this bus loop. You can head all the way back up to the main hallways, and they're all over the place there. Kids are going to have to wear masks. It's going to look completely different. But one thing that is not any different than it has been, back to school vaccinations. And doctors are reminding you parents how important it is. And if your child still needs them, it's actually easier than ever to get them because you can just go to a pharmacy. Under an emergency directive signed by the head of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, pharmacists nationwide can now give out child vaccinations. Katie Fox is a pharmacist at Nice Pharmacy in Conway. She says before the directive, they could only give out flu shots to kids 12 and older, but now they can handle all CDC recommended vaccines for kids 3 and older.
I think it takes a weight off the doctor's offices and it gives an extra added convenience for the patients. So they do really appreciate that, and they don't have to go sit in a waiting room full of potentially sick patients.
And she says pharmacists are required to take yearly courses on vaccines and could already give them to adults, so nothing really changes for them except the size of the patient. But we also spoke to a Grand Strand family medical physician who supports the order but wants to remind parents this should not entirely replace a trip to the pediatrician.
They'll be checked to make sure they're meeting their milestones. There'll be a physical exam. And so if parents are taking their children to the pharmacy just to get their vaccine, and instead of going to their primary care doctor, the children might be missing out on those things.
For more on what vaccines your child needs depending on their age, you can look for this story on WPDE.com under the Back to School tab. And another back-to-school health headline we are following. The South Carolina superintendent reported more than 100 of the state's 1,260 schools still without a full-time nurse. 79 of them had no nurse at all. Superintendent Molly Spearman made these remarks last week during a presentation to the Senate Financial Committee as she asked lawmakers for permission to shift funding around. The state has an extra $48 million in CARES Act funding. Spearman floated the idea of using a portion of that to hire more nurses. She added the department was negotiating with DHEC to allow school nurses to administer COVID-19 tests. Something to note today as schools in our area open, a large majority of them opening today on September 8th. This is actually the date that Governor Henry McMaster suggested back in July. In the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot had to happen to get here, but here we are. We're going to wait, less than 2 hours now from students getting back into these schools. We're going to toss it back over to you, Crystal.
All right, Connor Ingalls live for us in the field on this very important morning as we get you all ready to go back to school. And you can get back to school updates all morning long on our WPDE News app. Make sure you have it on your phone. Just search your app store, WPDE.
Your Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist Chrissy Kohler.
Hopefully you were able to enjoy our Labor Day yesterday because we're back into an increase in humidity as we head into the later part of today, as well as a very unsettled pattern going forward through the rest of the week. We've got a stationary front off the coastline today, and you can see that rain associated with it. That's going to try to make it onshore as we head into the later part of the day. So the best chance for rain is going to be right along our coastline. It's going to struggle to make it very far inland, but that onshore flow is going to persist through the rest of the week, and so therefore our rain chances are going to be on the higher side going forward. Through the morning hours, we look nice and dry out there with a partly cloudy to mostly cloudy sky, more cloud cover closer to the coast as we head through the day ahead. And as we take a look into the afternoon, that's when we start to see some of these scattered showers and thunderstorms pushing onshore, moving in from the Atlantic across the Grand Strand down into Georgetown County as well. Again, a few of these are going to try to make it into the PD and the border belt this afternoon, but it's likely that a lot of that's going to fizzle out before it makes it very far inland. So the rain chances for our inland areas are a lot lower. As we head into the overnight hours, we'll lose some of the heating of the day. That should dive things down a little bit, but I still think we're still going to see a few spotty showers and thunderstorms, at least through those early overnight hours, with an otherwise mostly cloudy sky overnight tonight. Our temperatures this afternoon topping out in the mid 80s at the beaches to around 87 in Hartsville, Darlington, as well as Marion. We top out at 88 in Bennettsville, Florence, as well as in Lumberton. So temperatures very similar to what we saw yesterday, but it's going to be more humid as we head into the afternoon. So that humidity creeping up. So just be aware it's going to feel a little more sticky this afternoon. A couple things we're watching here in the tropics, that wave of coming off the coast of Africa, 60% chance that develops in the next 5 days. This area, though, is headed towards the coast of the Carolinas here. That area that off the southwest coast of Bermuda is going to track back towards the coastline here, and it's likely that it's just going to bring us an increased chance for rain late into the week and into the weekend as well. But we are watching for that 40% chance for development. It's not highly likely that that's going to develop, but certainly something we're paying very close attention to because it is going to drift back towards our coastline. Temperatures in the Grand Strand are going to be in the mid-80s going forward. Again, we're not going to see a big jump in the heat department, but that humidity is going to be back as we head through the rest of the week and on into the weekend. Inland, we're looking at afternoon highs in the mid to upper 80s.
Thank you, Chrissy. And now we want to talk to Trooper Bob, and he is joining us now live from our Sinclair sister station down in Charleston. Many of you probably remember Trooper Bob. We always check in with him on these big travel days. What can you tell us, sir, about what drivers need to know today?
Yeah, I'm excited to be here with you. You know, Chrissy Kohler dialed in at a good temperature this morning, so why not walk to school, right? Well, we're seeing some kids walking to school. And, you know, you want them to take the same route every day. I'll show you the roadway while I'm talking to you. You want to take the same route every day, stay away from railroad tracks, walk on the sidewalks. If there's not a sidewalk, you want to make sure you walk on the shoulder of the roadway, but facing traffic, but not in traffic as the law requires. And when you get towards the school zone, you want to make sure you follow that crossing guard's directions and only cross when they're allow you to cross.
That's a good point. And then don't forget, Trooper Bob, it's one of those things that not only do we kind of forget over the summer about the school zones, the buses being out, but it's not just the summer. It's been since March since we've seen kids and school buses out and about, right?
Right, absolutely. And I've seen some school buses out today. So we need to remember the buses are not just going to be slowing down near the schools and near the bus stops, but also they're required to stop at railroad tracks also. So if you're headed out this morning, definitely allow a little more time, not just today and tomorrow for the rest of the week, but for the rest of the school year. All
right, Trooper Bob, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us live from Charleston. And again, make sure the kids are not even walking over railroad tracks. Teach them at home. And we'll check in with you, Trooper Bob, in just a little bit. But don't go anywhere. Today we need your help to find our pet of the week, a forever home. We'll tell you all about Satu coming up next. Welcome back. It's 6:24 as we turn to consumer news. An app made in the Carolinas is helping employers manage the health status of their employees, even before they get to work. The Vita Corpo app was created in Charlotte during this pandemic. It's free. Before work, employees use it to complete a workplace readiness survey and then take their temperature and blood oxygen level with 2 devices. That helps monitor COVID-19 symptoms. That data is sent off to the company's cloud to see if it meets workplace readiness standards. Employees get a pass or fail on whether they should head to work.
Employers didn't know what to do, and so we were giving them basically a check the box and we handle everything for you type of solution, so that they can bring people back to the workplace and people feel safe, and it also helps the employer manage the liability of the situation.
Business owners would need to purchase these 2 devices that do those readings, which are about $50 for the pair. They're also charged between $3 and $5 a month to use the app. So far, we know at least one Myrtle Beach business is using the app. It is Tuesday. We want to introduce you to our pet of the week. Satu has been at St. Francis Animal Center in Georgetown for way too long now. He's about 3 years old, and he's been there at the shelter for almost 2 years, the majority of his life. This is video of him out on a run with one of the younger volunteers. You can see Satu loves people, loves kids. He's great on a leash. He probably needs to be the only dog in his new home. So if you're kind of looking around for a new best friend and maybe you need a first-time pet, Satu is fantastic. He is healthy, microchipped, vaccinated, and ready for his new family. He's been here in our studio before. We've made a push to get Sad to a home, so we love him. He just has lots of kisses. And you can learn much more about the shelter on WPDE.com. Speaking of pets, today pets are officially allowed back on the beach in Horry County and Myrtle Beach. If you live in Surfside Beach, though, or North Myrtle Beach, your furry friends will be allowed back on the sand 1 week from today.
All right, out here at Forest Brook Middle School, up next, we're going to have a live interview with the principal. She's going to tell us about the excitement in the air for today and how they're going to make sure kids here stay safe.